delete this off of here and everything. Please. All right. Go over. Thank you, MOB, for helping me out. I just put it on over there. I'm going to give y'all a second to go over there before I delete or take this page down. I did not mean for this to be over here. So sorry. So sorry. But since if you're on here, I do have a video dropping here in the, after I get off of here. But no, yeah, thank you so much for letting me know. I'm on the wrong page. Sorry. Y'all make sure y'all meet me over there. I picked the wrong doggone video. The wrong channel. That is insanitary. Why would I do that? Why would I do that? Y'all make sure y'all meet me over at the Voodoo Doll TV. Let me make sure I've got the thumbnail up over there too. Girl, I can't believe I did that. I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all head over there, y'all. I am so sorry. Oh, it's on here. It's on here. I can't believe I did that. Girl, I picked the whole wrong channel. I figured that. I figured it. Yes, I did. I did not mean to come over here. I don't do all this over here. All right, let's get a thumbnail over here. Well, I don't know if it's going to let me put the thumbnail on right now, but I'm definitely... All right, I'm leaving this page. I'm leaving the Dollhouse React. Please meet me over at Voodoo Doll TV. Right now, I am leaving the Dollhouse Reacts. Please meet me over at Voodoo Doll TV. My apologies. I did not mean for this to be over here. We going over to our home at Voodoo Doll TV Reacts. Okay, so I'm about to end this one over here. And come over there. All right, hopefully I'm over there. Let me pull me up. That's normally what I do. I normally pull it up where I'm supposed to be at. I think it should be good because it dropped numbers. I am so sorry, y'all. It's a ghetto today. It's so ghetto today. Like, okay, yeah. We over here. Make sure y'all like the video. Sorry about that. Oh, girl, why did I thumbs down my own video? All right, make sure y'all like the video. We about to get into the good brother, Steve Coakley. Make sure, shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to everybody. Y'all know, I'm sorry. We was at the condo. we was at the condo. Now we home. We was at the vacation spot. Now we home. Thank you, MOB, for bringing that up. Thank you. We got to get into it, y'all. We got to get into it. I need to delete that off of that YouTube. I'll do that here in a second. But okay, so this is what we're doing. Today we're discussing the great brother, Khalid Muhammad, however you want to pronounce it. I want to be respectful. This brother was one to be reckoned with. A lot of you may or may not know who he is. In short, and in my opinion, brother Khalid Muhammad was the dark-skinned later version Malcolm X 2.0. He was fearless. He was fearless. He was pro-black. He was so pro-black, there was no room for nothing. He unfortunately suffered the same fate under Louis Farrakhan that our brother Malcolm X suffered, unfortunately, under Elijah Muhammad. Literally parallel. A lot of you may know him from his time on the Donahue show. He would go over there and drag them people. Yes, he did graduate from DU. Shout out to DU in New Orleans. He from Texas, but he graduated from Dillard in New Orleans. Y'all, I'm gonna show y'all. I'm not even gonna monetize this because I already know it's not gonna get monetized. Like, so it is what it is, and I don't care because I want to get this. I want to get this out. But you know him from Donahue, cussing everybody out, acting a fool, whatever the case may be. But he really was on some, I'm pro my people. I'm my people. You feel me? And that, you know how it is now. We've seen it with FBA and Fat Joe. That makes the clear people get crazy and they go, oh my God, they're radical. Some radical black nationalist group. And Same thing happened to him. He had a similar, I'm talking about so eerily similar situation that Malcolm X had. He had the same thing about 20, 30 years later. It's eerie. But I don't know if y'all know this. I've told y'all this before. I don't put nothing past none of these so-called leaders. No shade on Farrakhan, but something about him always makes me scratch my head. I'll just say that. Shout out to the good he's done. I don't know, I can't go into detail right now. We'll do a separate video on him. But at the end of the day, when I seen what happened to our good brother here, that really bothered me. Not only that, he was very good friends and close to a lot of your faves, like Professor Griff. We're going to get into that, who abandoned him once the nation cut ties from him. Yes, he did. Yes, Professor Griff, who abandoned him. And also our good brother Steve Coakley. Shout out to the good brother Steve Coakley, one of the greatest to ever do it. Yeah, this rabbit hole goes deep. I'm gonna do what I can today to try to touch on what I got, and then we'll go from there. Jay Wood said, please play the video, ma'am. I am. Just give me a second. You new here. Welcome. You're welcome. I hate that I went on that channel first. I hate it. Let me delete that. Let me delete it off of them. And this is no shade to you. I just hate that I even was over there. I should have never been over there, because that's what happens. You know what I mean? Let me take that off. Let me get that off of here. I'm deleting that one completely. All right. So anyway, just to give y'all kind of that backstory, we're going to get into a lot of what was going on over here with brother Khalid Muhammad. Now, I pulled up a bio on him. Get the likes up on the video. Let the people know we around here. I pulled up a bio on him, and we're going to get into that. Really, I really have a video really reading the same bio that I can read, so I'll just play that. But let me see. I'm going to pull it up so y'all can see it. I'm not going to lie, though. When I saw how Professor Griff and a lot of those other people abandoned him, like literally jumped ship, like it was nothing, that hurted me. And I'm a woman. I know I'm emotional, but I'm pretty sure it hurted him even more, because he was really like, that was his people. And because he ended up going against the so-called honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, it really cost him his life, and it cost him everything and everybody around him. And I think a lot of people didn't really understand how detrimental that was until it was too late. But we about to get into it, y'all. Get the likes up. Let's get into his bio really quick, and I'm going to show y'all some other stuff. Shout out to everybody in the building. TD, thank you, TD, as per usual, always supporting, but most importantly, always making it rain. Shout out to you, TD. Thank you so much for the hundo. Thank you so much for the hundo. I make it rain. I make it rain on them hoes. I make it rain. I make it rain on them hoes. Thank you so much. She says, gone traveling. Blessed early birthday to you, Vu. Thank you so much, TD. Be safe. Please be safe. Please be safe. Come on back. Have fun. Come on back. And we can't wait to see you back. Have fun, though. That's how I want to be. I want to be, when I get older, I just want to be gone. Like, you know what? I'm going traveling. You got money in coin. Oh, that's 500. I didn't even see that. Oh my God. Thank you so much. I didn't even see it. I'm just so used to, oh my God, thank you so much, TD. I appreciate you. I'm trying to be like you when I grew up. I want to get it back up here, girl. I'm sitting over here talking about, because I ain't even really look at it. I'm just like, oh, a hundo piece, because she normally bless me like that. TD, I am so grateful. Please be safe. Please come on back home. Thank you so much for the 500 piece. I'm sorry, I didn't see it. Thank you. I'm so appreciative. And I aspire to be just like you when I'm up in age and I'm still cute like you. I want to just be able to be like, you know what? When you got money, when you ain't got to say where you're going. I'm going traveling, That's going to be me. I'm just going traveling. You know, I love you and thank you so much, T. I really, 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 really appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. Shout out, bro. I be blessed, bro. On everything, I be blessed. Can't nobody tell me nothing. All right, let's get into the video with our brother Khalid. This is his bio a bit. Y'all like the video, like the video, like the video. Oh, I think I'm sorry, Cosmic Sun Soul. I saw your super chat too. Thank you so much for the super chat. It says, "Hey Acorns." Thank you, Cosmic Sun Soul. Love you, boo. Thank you so much. Let's get into this bio on our brother really quickly, and then we'll go from there. That once we were brought here, we were robbed of come from. And this video is by, what's the guy's name? Harlem Liberation. Harlem Liberation. That's what we dealing with, okay?
No matter what school or movement or organization you come from, we must build an African united front.
Khalid Abdul Muhammad was an activist, a one-time member of the Nation of Islam and national chairman of the New Black Panther Party. Muhammad was born Harold Moore Jr. on January 12, 1948, to Harold Moore Sr. and Lottie B. Moore in Houston, Texas. Moore's aunt, Carrie Moore Van, raised him while living in Houston, where he attended Phyllis Wheatley High School. After graduating from high school in 1966, Moore enrolled in Dillard University, located in New Orleans, Louisiana, to pursue a degree in theological studies, but he didn't finish that degree. While attending Dillard University in 1970, Moore...
Oh, so he was going to be a preacher. Theological studies is a clergyman. Crazy work. And remember this face here. Remember him. He has a lot to play. He has a huge role to play in Brother Khalid Muhammad, his life, and allegedly his death. Pay attention.
Moore heard a speech by Louis Farrakhan, who was at the time national representative of the Nation of Islam. After hearing Minister Farrakhan's speech, Moore joined the Nation of Islam and changed his name first to Harold X, then to Malik Rushideen. He eventually became Farrakhan's protege, helping to bring new recruits to the Nation of Islam. Muhammad later received his Bachelor of Arts degree from Pepperdine University in Los Angeles, California. In 1978, he was appointed Western Regional Minister of the Nation of Islam and leader of Mosque number 27 in Los Angeles. In 1983, Farrakhan changed his name to Khalid after the Islamic general Khalid ibn al-Walid. In 1985, at the age of 37, Khalid Muhammad was appointed national spokesman and representative of Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. In this role, he traveled to Nation of Islam mosques throughout the United States and eventually made a trip to Libya to meet its leader, Muammar al-Gaddafi. He became Minister Farrakhan's national advisor in the Nation of Islam. During his time with the Nation of Islam, Khalid Muhammad gave very dynamic, powerful, and often controversial speeches.
The white man is the devil. In case you forgot, you haven't heard anybody say it in a long time. You ain't heard nobody say it in a long time. The white man is the devil. I say it every day. I say it every day like a religious catechism, so that I can remember to remember, just so I won't forget. I say it like a mantra. I say it when I'm brushing my teeth and gargling my all.
You've got a subscription for streaming movies.
And while this is on, let me say this. Mind you, this is the 90s with Brother Khalid Muhammad. Elijah Muhammad has gone on. His son originally takes over the nation, and then Louis Farrakhan somehow swindles it away from the son. That's what I believe from what I know. We'll get Farrakhan as a whole nother video. What Khalid Muhammad is saying as far as the white man is the devil, that was the whole message of the nation from the very inception of it, okay? That was the whole message. That's why you hear so many times, you hear Malcolm X saying, blue-eyed, blonde-haired, blue-eyed devil. You know what I'm saying? This was their message. But it seems that once Louis Farrakhan took over, and this is from the outside, all the way on the outside looking in, it seemed like the message kind of shifted. So much so now, he's even said now that clear people can join the nation. That's crazy work to me. So what Khalid Muhammad was saying in the 80s and the 90s was no different from what Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm X was saying in the 60s. Remember, out of this births your revolutionaries in your people who are going to rebel, the Black Panthers and all this stuff, Black Guerrilla Family, all this stuff is coming out of these Black people saying, you know what, I'm tired of this stuff, I'm done with this stuff, I don't deal with them, just leave us alone type stuff. However, when Khalid picks up this rhetoric, for some odd reason, Louis Farrakhan don't like that. And you would ask yourself, if you come up under the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, why would that be a problem? I mean, that was the whole message while you were there. Like, make it make sense. What would make it so different when he says it versus when Malcolm says it? I'm just saying, just hear me out. Let's get him back into it.
And when I'm brushing my teeth and gargling my all the while out as a devil, early in the morning, I say it as a part of my meditation. I open up my prayers. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. I seek refuge in Allah. I seek refuge in Allah from the accursed devil, the white man. Damn it, it was a devil that killed Brother Anthony Baez. God damn it, it was a devil that shot our brother down on the streets of Brooklyn, shot him 24 times. It was devils who killed Brother Yusuf Hawkins. It was devils who were responsible for Eleanor Bumpers. It's devils who killed Jerry Lee Amy and Eula May Love. It was devils who brought you here on the slave ships to the hells of North America. You better remind yourself every day.
Despite the controversy, Muhammad remained popular with youth in the Black community and often appeared in hip-hop songs by Public Enemy and Ice Cube. In 1993, during a speaking engagement at Kane College in New Jersey, Muhammad used language that some European Jews found derogatory and insulting.
The lecture at King College is what got him kicked out of the nation. They suspended him for a year, no contact. And then after his suspension was up, he was trying to get in touch with his so-called spiritual father, Louis Farrakhan, and Louis Farrakhan shunned him. I'm telling you, it's so identical. We're going to get into it. The lecture at King College, and I have that lecture. I have the entire lecture. I'm going to drop the link for it whenever I play it. And I want each, because we can't go over it the whole time because it's a 2-hour lecture. Because we got to go over his backstory, then we'll get to King College. But what I will do is drop the link for that lecture when we're going over it. Y'all remind me so that you on your own time can go and watch that lecture. And when you see that lecture, it makes sense why Louis Farrakhan, number one, suspended him. Again, he's not saying anything different than the ones before him. Also, it makes sense why they got rid of him and excommunicated themselves from him. Because you got, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, they were in bed with them people. Remember, Farrakhan and them over there at the Church of Scientology as we speak. Okay? All of them, they in bed with these folks. So when he offended that community, I'm talking about the government was talking about this. We're going to get into it. So remember, King College, Kean is the name of it. King College. That's the lecture that got him in trouble and ultimately, in my opinion, got him killed. Check it out. We're gonna roll it out today because this ain't gonna get monetized. That's cool. None of his stuff get monetized, and that's cool. We ain't even trying to get monetized. We just trying to get the message out.
He also was accused of attacking the Pope in his speech. In response, the United States Senate took the highly unusual step of voting 97-0 to censure him for making the speech. He was also silenced by the Nation of Islam as a minister, a move which prompted him eventually to leave the organization in 1993.
During the speech, Brother Khalid made remarks that were not consistent with the proper representation of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, his teachings and guidance, myself, and the Nation of Islam. I found the speech, after listening to it in context, vile in manner, repugnant, malicious, mean-spirited, and spoken in mockery of individuals and people.
That's cap, bro. I'm getting mad all over again. And I've seen all this. I'm getting mad all over again. He not saying nothing that the nation has always said. They always said it. Elijah Muhammad said it. Malcolm said it. All of the leaders back then said every single thing that he's going to get on here and say. But see, this person right here, I've been told y'all I feel like he compromised. I'm from the South. Man, for most of us, we Christians. We come up Christians. We don't give a damn about that. Man, that's them up north, them northeast niggas. You know what I'm saying? We don't give a damn about that ugly ass. Man, stop. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, niggas in the South is Christian, so I don't have the affinity to him that a lot of my people have. But I'm just saying, it's given like, why would he, you know why he came out and had to condemn him and separate him from the nation? Because them people put that foot on that neck. Allegedly. Because how you going to separate from your brother and say they're vile, not representative of the nation? Which nation? It must be a new nation. He a whole nother one himself, bro. And he ain't even from Acorn. It's a whole lot going on here.
It's
a whole lot. It is a whole lot going on in this situation. I despise religion. I don't care which one it is. I despise them all. All of them.
Of Islam. While I stand by the truths that he spoke, I must condemn in the strongest terms the manner in which those truths were represented.
I stand by the truth in which he spoke, but I despise the manner in which he presented the truths. So you agree with him or no? Like, which one is it? Although I stand by the truth, I just don't like the way he said it. Is that what you're saying?
Therefore, have dismissed Brother Khalid from his post as minister, representative, and national assistant.
Muhammad, however, would continue to make dynamic public speeches at universities across America, and once in 1994 appeared on The Phil Donahue Show. On May 29, 1994, former Nation of Islam member James Best attempted to assassinate Muhammad. He was shot by Best after making a speech at the University of California, Riverside, but fortunately he survived the attack. In 1998, Muhammad became the national chairman of the New Black Panther Party, a black nationalist organization that loosely modeled itself on the original Black Panther Party founded in Oakland in 1966. During his time with the New Black Panther Party, Muhammad organized the Million Youth March in New York City and led a march in Jasper, Texas, protesting the vicious murder of James Byrd by white supremacists. Muhammad remained national chairman of the New Black Panther Party until his death from an alleged brain aneurysm on February 17, 2001. Muhammad eventually died in Atlanta, Georgia, at the age of 53. He was buried in Ferncliff Cemetery in Westchester County, New York, near the graves of Malcolm X and Dr. Betty Shabazz. On a personal note, Brother Khalid Muhammad was one of my own personal jegnas. I first met Brother Khalid when I was a president of the...
We're going to get to that aneurysm. Yeah, heavy on the allegedly. Heavy on the allegedly. We're going to get there. Give me a second. Before we get there, I want to show y'all some other stuff that was going on. Because it's so much trickery. And people are followers of people. They say they followers of Allah. They say they followers of God. They say, no, people are worshiping people, okay? Don't ever forget that when it comes to this stuff, especially in religion. Especially in religion, okay? Now, before we get to that, I want to play you just a tidbit of how different Brother Khalid Muhammad was as it references his speech versus what's the guy's name? Not Elijah Muhammad, child. Louis Farrakhan. Mind you, they're under the same umbrella on the same team, but for some odd reason, their messages are completely different. It's almost like if the nation was already going this way, Khalid Muhammad kept the way he was going, and it looked like Farrakhan started going that way. Pay attention to some of the differences in their speeches, y'all. Get the likes up.
I know that I have guided you in ways that you may not understand the moves that I'm making. And you who love the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and study his word, you may think that the minister has gone off. No, it's true. It's true.
You have gone off. But let me also say this. I don't mean to cut him off, but let me say this too. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad did not leave him in charge. Remember, at the time, it was supposed to be Malcolm that was supposed to supersede him. Malcolm X was supposed to supersede or come behind the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Okay? Let's really be clear about that. But when Malcolm woke up, went astray, he looked and said, now who I got? He didn't even want his son, allegedly, he didn't even want his son to be the next up. But he'd rather put his son would rather be the person come up next than this one. Remember, I told you it was a bamboozle to get him over there. You weren't even hand chosen by your so-called spiritual father. Your spiritual father didn't choose you. Even after allegedly you got Malcolm X knocked up out of here. You just happened to be in the right place at the right time and swindled out his son. Don't ever forget that.
But before you go off, you should ask questions. The problem book says, ask questions and learn all about yourself. Because everything that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad brought us was to teach us the knowledge of God, the knowledge of self. And sometimes when you raise your question, the teacher can see you better, see your need better. But if you start condemning and not ask questions, then you are like that parable in the 18th surah of the Quran, Moses in search of knowledge with the wise man. And he was always condemning the things that the wise man did. I was very sad this past 2 weeks to learn of the condition of my brother Khalid.
Watch.
It hurt me because my hope was that, like any illness, it would run its course.
Cap.
And my brother, like the prodigal son, would find his way back to his father.
Mind you, he's referencing the fact that he's hurt by the fact that Brother Khalid Muhammad has gone astray. Because I thought he'd find his way back. But he didn't. This is what he's saying.
And we could reconcile our differences.
Mind you, just like Malcolm, Khalid had went on to say, First of all, he never spoke ill of Louis Farrakhan, and we're going to get into it. But he always said, that's between me and my father. Whatever we got going on, I'm not going to speak on it until I speak to him. He tried to get in touch with Louis Farrakhan, and Louis Farrakhan would not speak to him. So this right here is cap.
Brother Khalid was a beautiful black stallion. No, I don't want you to applaud. But he was a stallion that did not want a bit in his mouth, nor a saddle on his back, or a bridle on him.
Pause. We'll come back to you, bro. Come over here. Y'all remember this? I'm pretty sure if you don't remember the actual show when it aired, you definitely remember this clip all over social media. This is who Khalid Muhammad was. Check him out.
A speech at Kane College, which so many people called anti-Semitic and a lot of things. At the very least, racist. You remember the comment? He picked up the Pope's dress, and let's see what's under that dress. Here's what you said about Colin Ferguson, the man who shot a Jamaican black male who shot 6 people on the Long Island train. Mr. Muhammad speaks.
Where they set black inmates up in these jails and penitentiaries, and in particular there in Nassau County, and pulled all the black officers out and the black inmates so they could jump on Brother Colin Ferguson because they were mad with him for catching the Long Island train and killing all them white folks. I love Colin Ferguson. I have no official position, so I can say I love him.
You love a man who randomly killed 6 people on a commuter train?
I love Colin Ferguson just as much as the masses of white Americans love General Schwarzkopf, General Westmoreland, General Patton, General MacArthur, and Eisenhower. America awards her killers, and they get ribbons and stripes and bars. I'm sensitive to the pain and suffering of the loss of life on that train, but I'm one of the rebellious slaves. And so when black people stand up out of pain and suffering and frustration, I understand after 500 years.
You also...
Watch what he said about Jesse. Y'all know we just did Jesse a week or so ago. And I got the speech pulled up, the lecture, but watch what he say about Jesse.
You talk about the response of some African Americans to, for example, the book which attempts to prove that Jews are involved in the slave trade. I'd be happy to let them see that. You talk about when white folks can't defeat you, you said in your speech at Kane, they'll always find some Negro, some boot-licking, butt-licking, buck-dancing, bamboozle, half-baked, half-fried, sissified, punkified, pasteurized, homogenized nigger that they can trot out in front of you. I would ask you, Mr. Muhammad, is Jesse Jackson a boot-licking, homogenized nigger?
To the best of his ability, I believe he tries every day to do that.
This man was a menace, bruh. Man, shout out to the ancestor, bruh. This man was a menace. That's how he described Jesse Jackson. And we just went over him. And we didn't even go over all the crap Jesse done did. So you understand why Brother Khalid felt like he felt.
Here you are mocking Jesse Jackson at a speech. I believe this is Howard University. Roll the tape.
This is funny part.
Oh, boot-licking, buck-dancing, scratching, shuffling, messy Jesse Jackson. You keep. I am a somebody. I am a somebody. Keep hope alive. I am a somebody. I don't rightly know who the hell I am, but I am somebody.
Yeah. Are you an entertainer or are you a committed person to black people?
I'm so glad you asked that question. I believe that the liberation and salvation of the black nation must be brought about by black people gaining a thorough knowledge of self after our 500 to 6,000 year Holocaust, where we have lost over 600 million. And so I believe that that education process must be a process of two steps: inspiration and information. So I seriously give information, but black people are a people of rhythm and spirit, so I also give inspiration.
From your speech at King College in 1960, Chief Luthuli, the head of the ANC, received a Nobel Peace Prize, you reported to your audience, reminded them, for nonviolent struggle. Just like Mandela just received it with F.W. de Klerk. How could you stand with your oppressor and your enemy and receive the Nobel Prize for non...
Quickly, before they move on, Mandela is another one I've been scratching my head about. This is a little bit off subject, but it is because he's speaking on the Pulitzer or the Nobel Peace Prize. Mandela is another one I've been scratching my head about. And let me tell you why. Remember, apartheid and all that stuff was going down in South Africa, and Mandela went to jail and da. I feel like something, I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm just overdoing it. Maybe I'm just overreaching. But something about that Mandela just make me scratch my head. Okay. I don't know. I got to look into it. But it's something about it, even from what I knew, it was something about that Mandela situation that just really, it didn't settle my stomach. You know what I mean? I'll just say that. But we're going to get on Mandela. Right now, because it's Black History Month, I'm trying to stick to Black Americans. But you know how we do every Educational Friday. We're going to get on him too. Him and Winnie.
Violence, struggle. You have, you do not support then Nelson Mandela's strategy in the struggle to free black people in South Africa?
Let us first of all be very clear here, Phil. Nelson Mandela is my brother.
So
he
is
is a
Jesse
member
Jackson.
of the family, and so is Jesse, and Jesse is a very brilliant man. We just want him to return home and stop being used by the enemy and the oppressor against his people. Now back to Brother Nelson Mandela. And certainly we can never mention Nelson without mentioning Winnie Mandela. But Nelson Mandela's attempt at a multiracial government in South Africa after the murder of men, women, children, and babies, and the rape of South Africa, a criminal settler colony that has been established like Israel there in that part of the world. I cannot go along with one man, one vote. Let me say why.
This is what I'm talking about. What he's saying is the fact that they were over there committing literal genocide over in South Africa, and then Mandela want to talk about working together and cohesiveness. That was a red flag. To anybody, it would be a red flag. They over there unaliving and pillaging and murdering your people. And you talking about getting together with these folks? Something in the milk ain't clean. I pulled this comment because I thought it was interesting. She says, man, our whole BSU almost got kicked out of college for booking this man for Black History Month at a PWI in the early 90s. That is insane. Shout out to you, the PR lady. That is insane. Because remember, I don't know if this was before or after that King College lecture, but whenever it was, he was on the hit list. He was on a hit list. But it's dope that y'all even had that experience. I mean, it sucks that you couldn't get the brother there. But it's dope that y'all even got together and was like, we need to get him over here. Because he used to do college lectures all the time. But shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to y'all. You know what? It was what it was. And now that I know what I know about education today, child, It was worth it. She says, University of Pacific, Stockton, California. Check the Stockton records for a receipt. I believe you, baby. Don't worry about it. But I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Khalid was a great African. He was not African, my love. He wasn't African. Not sorry to say that. He was a Black American. Through and through. Okay. Now let's get back into this, and then I want to go pivot somewhere else because I got a lot of clips to show y'all.
Someone broke into your home, Mr. Donahue, and actually bum rushed your home, and Black Boots stomped your door down and came in and robbed and raped everyone in the household and was able to take the wealth of your home and parlay it into an empire. This is an invader. This is an intruder. This is a murderer. This is a burglar. This is a criminal. So you have no responsibility to share your home with them after they broke in and committed the crimes that they did.
That Mandela was a character. We're going to get into him. That Mandela was a character. Let me tell you something. What the brother said was so true. These people done broke into your home. South Africa. They come into your home, rape, pillage, take everything from you. And you want to tell the people of that land that they should work with these people? And y'all wonder why right now in 2025, them South Africans done had enough. Okay? They don't care about none of that ugly ass shit. It's given to me, Mandela was the Martin Luther King of South Africa. I'm telling you, that's what it's given. It's something, even when they told us about him in school, something never quite sat right with me about Nelson Mandela. The fact that, like he said, he wanted them to work with them people, red flag, huge red flag. I'm telling you, he giving South African MLKTs. That's what he giving to me. He gave me South African MLKTs, and I don't know what to do with that. Trey, thank you for being a member for 6 months. I missed the morning, but dear God, I'm here. This is going to be a good one. Brother Khalid was fire. Absolutely. Thank you, Trey. Love you. And thank you for the super chat. Boo, did the KKK funded the NOI? Allegedly. That's what they said. That's a whole other video. Allegedly. That's what they said. That's what they said. That's a whole nother video though. That's a whole nother educational Friday. But yeah, allegedly. Lee Clinton, thank you for the super chat. I mean, what else would we think when the honorable, no, not honorable, not Farrakhan, what was his name? Farah Muhammad was a clear man through and through. So sound about right to me. Lee Clinton, thank you for the super chat. Khalid called himself African. Did he lie on himself? No, he did not lie on himself. He just was not aware of who he was. This is coming off the heels of in the 50s and 60s that we were taught that we all came from Africa. He only had the knowledge that he had, just like Brother Steve Coakley, just like Brother Malcolm X, just like all these other people. They only had what they had at the time. Had he lived to be longer or lived older than that, and especially in this day and age, I'm pretty sure his rhetoric and his literature would have changed. He only knew what he knew. Matter of fact, if he was born in the 40s, he was one of the kids. He was one of the first generation of kids that was even introduced to that out of Africa thing. So yeah, we got to charge it to the game. All they had was what they had. We are in the age of information now, so now we can go and study this stuff and see. You know what I'm saying? What's really hood? But yeah, no, we don't charge that to his heart. He didn't know, but I'm pretty sure. Well, we know who he is. His family out of Houston or Dallas, Texas. He is a Negro. He is a Black American, Acorn. Yeah. FBA, whatever you want to call him. Hebrew Israel, whatever you want to call him, that's who Brother Khalid Muhammad was. Yes. Thank you for the super chat. How do you say this name? Kalisica? Hey, boo, be sure to look up Mandela Effect if you haven't yet. It's spooky and right up your alley, I think. Yes, no, I know about the Mandela Effect. When it make you forget things that you know you already saw. Girl, I might have to add that to the docket when we go to talking about Nelson Mandela. I might have to add that to the docket. Because listen, why would they call it the Mandela Effect? That's when you know you see, for instance, what movie? Oh, I'll give you an example. Sinbad saying that he never played in no genie movie, and I know for a fact my mom and them had it on VHS. Matter of fact, I should call and see if she still got it right now. But in today's society, they'll tell you that that never happened. The caps, and the caps, all caps. Girl, I knew everything. Because remember they were trying to say he went to jail, but then he didn't go to jail. Mandela. Something in the milk ain't clean about that Mandela. But thank you so much. You absolutely right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Girl, every Friday, listen, we had a routine at my mama's house when I grew up. We had a routine. Monday and Tuesday, my mama made red beans and rice on Monday, and it was enough to last us to Tuesday. Wednesday, we had spaghetti or any type of hamburger helper. Thursday, my mama cooked. Friday was the day we got takeout, typically McDonald's, or she'll order some pizza. But on top of that, we will go down to the Blockbuster. I know what I'm talking about. And either we would buy the movie, but a lot of times she would just try to go get it from the video store itself, or we would rent the movies from Blockbuster every Friday, and we had a Friday night thing at the house. I know for a fact on multiple occasions I've watched the Kazam movie. I don't care what they say. I know what they saying right now, but I don't care I know what I saw. And as a matter of fact, my mama still got them VHSs. And if you're on here, call me when I get off here. If you can go through them tapes you got and find that VHS movie, it's gonna be problem because my mama still got all her stuff. Still got it to this day. So I know what I'm talking about. I ain't making this up, y'all. They about to gaslight me, make me think I'm tripping. Girl, please. I know what I'm talking about. Give me Dim. How do you say your name? Give me Deem. Thank you so much for the super chat. And you sent me another one. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, we got to move on, y'all. The name of the movie, I think, is Kazam. And do you know Sinbad came out himself and said that he never did that movie? Boy, you a red lie. Hold on. The Fruit of the Loom. The Fruit of the Loom. Remember they tried to say it never had the thing of fruits on there? I know you lying to me. I know you lying to me. All we want was Fruit of the Loom. My mama ain't shopped nowhere but the Walmart. I know what the Fruit of the Loom had on. Yup. Fruit Loops versus Fruit Loops. Yup. Girl, that's that bull, girl. Look. Yeah, go ahead. Y'all get the likes up on the video. Sorry, he get nice. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt y'all. So now this here is the lecture at Kean College, if I can correctly remember, Kean. This is the lecture that ultimately, unfortunately, got him killed. It was a wonderful lecture. It was a great lecture. As a matter of fact, Congress and the government held meetings about this lecture. They called him anti-Semitic. They called him racist. They called him radical. They called him everything but the child of God. This is the lecture right here that got Louis Farrakhan to separate from him. This is the lecture. This is where, mind you, he was already making headways. He on Donahue. He everywhere. Everybody know who it was. Okay? But now, this is the straw that break the camel's back, if it makes sense. Okay? Let's get into this. Now, I don't want to play it all because I can't. It's like 2 hours. But we're going to get into some key parts.
The secret relationship between blacks and Jews.
I'm getting that book, mind you. But that's that part right there. Pay attention.
First of all, there are a group of faculty and staff and some Jewish students, I believe, and others from the community who are passing out this wonderful note. I think we should go over this note and let this note help us to set the tone for the evening. Is that all right? Let me say to you before we even get started. If your seats get too hot for you, don't leave. Just raise up and fan it a little bit and sit back down. Everything will be all right. And to the whites who are in the audience, let me say to you before we even get started, it's going to be a rough ride, buddy. It's going to be a rough ride. You better buckle in. Buckle up, guys. Buckle your seatbelts. If for any reason this auditorium becomes depressurized, automatically oxygen masks will fall from the ceiling. Please make sure to fix the elastic band around your head firmly and put the mask over your mouth and nose first, and then help the white person next to you. I didn't come to Keene College to tiptoe through the tulips. I didn't come to Keene College to pussyfoot. I didn't come to Keene College to dilly-dally, to beat around the bush. I didn't come to pin the tail on the donkey. I came to pin the tail on the hunky. I came to speak the truth, whether you like that truth or not. I couldn't give a damn if you stood thousands on the sidewalk passing out leaflets before my people come in here this evening. We have a right to evaluate and examine the secret relationship between blacks and Jews. Good evening. This is the Truth Hour. And don't you touch that dial. You stay tuned in. Let us read November 29, 1993. A note from the Keene College Jewish Faculty and Staff Association. Shall we? To those attending the secret relationship between blacks and Jews, we affirm the Speaker's constitutional right to offer controversial views. But we only ask that this audience use the same critical thinking and evaluation that would normally be expected in a college community. Without prejudging the content of this lecture, the book of the same title by anonymous authors, the Historical Research Department, in parentheses, of the Nation of Islam, has drawn the repudiation of African Americans like, let's see what this honor roll is here.
Check it out.
African Americans like Clarence Page, William Raspberry, Stanley Couch, Alice Walker, Ishmael Reed, August Wilson, Mel Reynolds, John Lewis, Uncle Tom Bradley, Stinking David.
Pay attention to these names. He naming off John Lewis, Alice Walker. Those are very familiar to us. Pay attention. These are the people who are in bed with this group of people. Pay attention.
Dickens, Ron Brown, and the late Bayard Rustin. Y'all know Bayard, honey. One of Shanae's friends.
Y'all know Bayard Rustin, right? That's the gay guy who was in Martin Luther King's ear, Mike. He really is the one who organized the March on Washington. If you haven't seen, there's a movie on Netflix. Go check it out. So all the people he named were closely related. He about to drag Mike too. I'm just telling y'all now. Buckle up. He about to drag Mike too. But he telling you who all was in bed together.
Bayard Rustin debated Malcolm X, El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz, Brother Omar Wally. Brother Malcolm debated on the Ivy League campuses of white America with an 8th grade education from the white man, but supreme wisdom from Almighty God's man in our midst with that old time knowledge and ancient wisdom from the very beginning, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And Malcolm was able to handcuff scholars all over America. Some crackers, that's what I told you. Some crackers with 1 PhD, some with 2 PhDs. But when white folks can't defeat you, they'll always find some Negro Some bootlicking, butt-licking, buck-dancing, bamboozled, half-baked, half-fried, sissified, punkified, pasteurized, homogenized niggas that they can trot out in front of you. I hear you had one of these Negroes on campus a few weeks ago, some Negro named Louis Gates. Who let this Negro out of the gate? Henry Louis Gates. Malcolm debated Bacon Rustin.
You know who Henry Louis Gates is, right? Listen, it's all tying in. Do you know who Henry Louis Gates is? Henry Louis Gates is the black dude behind AfricanAncestry.com. Oh, yeah. He the one who said, they said, hey, Oprah said that she is of the Zulu tribe. And he was like, well, I hadn't done it. He said, well, just go ahead and make her Zulu. We making this shit up anyway. That's who he talking about. The guy behind AfricanAncestry.com. Don't forget that. Don't ever forget that. He's spilling tea.
For the white folks, Bayard took the position of the Peckerwood, and Malcolm beat the hell out of him. And when Malcolm got through beating him, Malcolm said, if it's one thing I hate, is a white man who acts like a white, and is a black man who acts like a white man. Malcolm said, if it's one thing I hate worse than a black man who acts like a white man, is a black man who acts like a white woman. And Malcolm smoked him in that debate. Let us go on. These esteemed ones from among us. Jesse Jackson, keep hope alive. I am a somebody. I am a somebody. I don't rightly know who the hell I am, but I am a somebody. And keep hope alive. As well as scholars such, I've mentioned Gates, Cornel West, Orlando Patterson,
Cornel West,
and Selwyn Cudjoe. Give me a break. These critics generally have found this book to over-rely on isolated information out of context, anecdotes without a historical or demographic perspective, and paltry figures without comparisons. For example, the names, gee whiz, of 11 Jewish Confederate Navy officers are listed. But how large was the Confederate Navy? Hell, we don't learn that. The biggest historical controversy rests on Jewish commercial involvement in the slave trade. This book claims that Jews were the main beneficiaries of the slave economy, but the established historical record finds only about 2% Jewish involvement. Don't misunderstand, guys. Our position, that was 2% too many. Still probably, all the Jewish slave traders combined did not buy and sell as many slaves as did the firm of Franklin and Armfair, the largest Negro traders in the South. Furthermore, the secret relationship has explicitly drawn on the rhetoric of white supremacists.
And let's be clear. I put this picture up here so you can see. They've always been there. Walter Plecker, don't let that go over your head. They've always been there, funding everything. Don't let that go over your head. And that's Meatball, a.k.a. Marcus Garvey. Y'all know how I feel about Meatball. Okay? He's spilling tea. He's not only exposing them, he's exposing us of those who are in bed with them as well.
Whose hatred for Jews is matched only by their contempt for blacks. The stereotypes of both minorities have a haunting similarity. The truth is that all of the European powers were involved in the slave trade, and it was supported by nearly all white Americans, including Protestants and Catholics, labor and business, North and South. And slavery in North America predated the first Jewish immigration by over 30 years. Moreover, a broader historical context finds only a minor role of Jews in the slave trade, but a profound role of Jews in the struggle for civil rights.
Listen, this is the speech that got him. Okay, I want to fast forward to when he's speaking about Martin Luther King. Hold on.
And suck the blood from the raw meat, and you still eat your meat raw.
Oh Lord.
To this, your PP and you are Johnny-come-lately Jew who just crawled out of the caves and hills of Europe just a little over 4,000 years ago. You are not from the original people. You are a European strain of people who crawled around on your all fours in the caves and hills of Europe, eating juniper roots and eating each other. You knew nothing about fire. You knew nothing about funerary science or nothing about embalming. You left your dead right in the cave with you, and you slept with your dead for 2,000 years, smelling the stench coming up from the decomposing body. You knew nothing about bathrooms and toilets and restrooms and sanitation systems. You did your number one and your number two, your PP and your do, which should be a don't, right in the caves and hills of Europe. You slept in your urination and your defecation generation after generation for 2,000 years. You knew nothing about fire. You knocked your animals in the head with clubs and boulders and bricks or whatever you had at that time. You made a chisel or found already that way and dragged them back to the cave, and all of you would just gum them and eat the fur, the dirt, the filth, and suck the blood from the raw meat. And you still eat your meat raw to this very day.
This video is for educational purposes only. This video is for educational purposes only. This video is for educational purposes only. This video is for educational purposes only.
While you live like this, this black man and black woman that you in a condescending way look down your nose at on the Keene College campus. You're looking at the sons and daughters of your very mothers and fathers to the whites who are in this audience, while you wouldn't even be here if it were not for the original black man and the original black woman. We are your mother and we are your father. Not only are we your mother and father biologically and genetically and historically, but we are the father and mother of all of the disciplines, all of the sciences, everything that you have built your so-called civilization on. Why is it a secret relationship? It's a secret relationship because you have lied to us all this time. You have lied to us. And now, one man born from Sandersville, Georgia, a little black man named the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, raised up by God in the midst of the black people of the world, but in particular in the midst of the black man and woman here in
Elijah Poole, aka Elijah Muhammad, was a half-breed. We don't know who his daddy is, as we always do with these people. We don't know who his daddy is, but we do know that he's a half and half out of Georgia. But he is yet and still Elijah Poole, the half and half. But again, that's their leader. Can't charge it to the game. Can't charge it to their heart. Got to charge it to the game at this point. But I just wanted to add that in. Elijah Poole, aka Elijah Muhammad, questionable within itself. But go ahead.
In the hells of the United States of America, one Elijah Muhammad, God's man, his messenger, his Messiah in our midst, And now he has shaped and anointed and appointed by God's command and commission one Honorable Louis Farrakhan, whose mission now is to open our eyes, to wake us up, and to teach us the truth after we've been lied to.
Oh, so you thought, brother. Oh, I wish I could time travel and whisper in your ear before you go out on that stage, brother. I wouldn't even tell you not to. I probably would tell you what could happen if you did the speech, brother. But I would sure tell you the reverence you given to one said Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Yeah. This is going to be the beginning of the end with him, sir. I sure wish I could have went back in time and just right before you went on stage, give me 3 minutes. Just 3 minutes. Hell, give me 2. If I knew. You know what I'm saying? Because he's still paying homage and reverence to this man, and he's the very man, in my opinion, allegedly, that unfortunately had this happen. I want to fast forward to when he starts to speak about Martin. Hold on.
Probably wouldn't even mention you that much. But the students chose this subject because they're catching so much hell. Jesus, who's talking? Who's talking? Let me stop right now. When I say Jesus up here, I'm not talking about no blonde-haired, blue-eyed, pale-skinned, buttermilk complexion, peckerwood, cracker Christ. When I say Jesus up here, I'm talking about the Jesus that the Bible says his body would be like jasper. Another scripture says his body would be like fur. Another scripture says his body would be like fine brass, as though it had been burnt in an oven. It says he would have hair like lamb's wool. I'm talking about that nappy hair. I'm talking about that good hair. Before you fried it and dyed it and laid it to the side. Before you got your scary curve. Before you got your temporary permanent. Before you got your blonde wig running around King College talking about blondes have more fun. And you're not having no more fun. The Bible says Jesus would have nappy hair. So where did these pictures come from with this stringy hair, straight hair, blonde hair, blue-eyed, pale skin, buttermilk complexion, peckerwood cheeks? It's the white man. The white man's got a God complex. Pope Julius II, who commissioned Michelangelo.
Yep.
And I ain't talking about no Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
He commissioned Michelangelo to make a depiction of Jesus, and the Jesus actually was his old man, Caesar Borgia, who was the son of somebody who was very prominent as well. But they was, and black people to this day, for years in skulls and blows, been praying to a clear gay man who be, and no shade, but I'm just saying, they just didn't know.
Pope Julius II commissioned Michelangelo to change Jesus from black to white. His hair from nappy and kinky to straight, weak, and stringy.
I got you, Meek. Buttermilk. I got to add that one to the milk community.
And so now we have a white Jesus. But the Bible says, I beheld until the thrones were cast down. And the Ancient of Days did sit. And it goes on to tell you that he would have hair like lamb's wool and his body would be like fine brass, burnt in and out. There are white people throughout different sections of Europe to this very day who make their prayers in front of a black man and a black Jesus. Go to the Vatican in Rome.
Didn't Putin show y'all the black Jesus they be praying to? We already seen the Pope and the black Jesus they be praying to. Remember Putin opened up the wall saying, hey, y'all, funny story, everybody was black in the Bible, duh.
Him is called the father of the nation. But you seek to kill me. Who is Jesus talking to? He said, you seek to kill me because my word has no place in you. Jesus said his word had no place in the Jew. Was that Elijah Muhammad who said that? Was it Louis Farrakhan who said that? and you do that which you have seen with your father. So Jesus started playing a dozen with him. He started talking about their dad. He said, yo, we got different daddies. They answered and said unto him, Abraham is our father. And Jesus said unto them, if. What did he say? What did he say? What did he say? If you were Abraham's children, you would do the works of Abraham. But you seek to kill me, Jew, a man that has told you the truth, which I have heard of God. This Abraham would not do. You do the deeds of your father. Then the Jews said to Jesus, we be not born of fornication. We have one Father, even God. You know how they're quick to say that. One people, one planet. Hell, you didn't want to share it with us until it got all out of whack. Until you had messed up the ozone layer. Until you had destroyed much of the rainforest. Until you had tampered with the delicate balance in nature. Polluted the very air that even you have to breathe. Polluted the very water that even you have to drink. You didn't want one planet, one people, until you had messed it up. Now you see your demise, and you see our rise. And so now we're one people. Multiculturalism, buddy. We need a...
He's spitting from the Bible, basically showing how in the Bible, Jesus called out the Jewish and were like, yo, y'all imposters, y'all not even a real dude. We got different daddies. Like, your daddy is degenerate. My daddy, you know, my people daddy not. And y'all over here cosplaying. That's kind of the gist of what he's saying from those scriptures. But he's showing not only from his literature and his research, how the Bible even coincides with everything that he's saying. Hold on.
My leader extended to you the torchlight.
Hold on.
To start pulling limbs off the family tree. This thing is serious. No wonder they hate Jesus. From their home, they are Semitic people. And you are anti-Semitic. You've never been in bondage in Egypt for 400 years. The pyramids, one of the wonders of the world. On you, come forward. If I'm lying on you, let's have another forum.
I think it's at a word,
and I'll meet with him and serve as his chief strategist.
Hold on, this is the part.
The student nonviolent coordinator.
He about to go in on your whole civil rights movement. He about to go in on your whole civil rights movement. SNCC, SCLC, John Lewis, all these niggers that they post up to us and be like, yo, these are our leaders. You should love these people. He about to go in. He about to go in. This the part that I was like, okay, cook. Let him cook.
It was in 1975 before you had a black chairperson of the NAACP. A Jewish writer, Jonathan Kaufman, in his book, Broken Alliance. I want to use white Jew references. Is that okay? Yes, sir. Okay. Jonathan Kaufman, in Broken Alliance, admits that the Jews who first came to America in the 17th, 18th, and early 19th centuries were heirs to a conservative political tradition that tended to embrace the status quo. Slavery, of course, was a major part of that status quo. For much of this century, Jews have been a prominent element in the liberal wing of white North America. According to Kaufman, in his book, Broken Alliance, this switch to seeming liberalism, very different from the slavery and earlier post-slavery era, was facilitated by the development of the reform movement in U.S. Judaism in the late 19th century, by Jewish involvement in communism and socialism, by the pursuit of an enlightened Jewish self-interest. The pursuit of an enlightened Jewish self-interest. Meaning, whatever they did it for themselves first. And they used us so that we could clear a path for them.
Watch the hijack. He's telling you how they use the civil rights movements, like they use BLM, like they use the LGBTQ. He's showing you how they use the movement to push the crap that they really want. Peep it out.
Let us go on. In the words of Kaufman, the Jewish, quote, struggle for equality and fair treatment was linked to the struggles of blacks for greater opportunity. It was not a struggle of equals, Jonathan Kaufman, the white Jew, says. Jews did not consider their plight equal to that of blacks, but they recognized in the black struggle for rights elements that could benefit them and conditions with which they could sympathize. Accordingly, several rich and powerful Jews, among them prominent leaders of the U.S. Zionist movement, co-founded, led, and financed the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. The NAACP, founded in 1909, got its first African-American chairperson in 1975.
The NAACP was founded and financed by those orange juice people, okay? I know they put, what's his face up front, who was still a half-breed, but they put him up front, but they were financed by the orange juice people. He about to spit, look.
It was in 1975 before you had a black chairperson of the NAACP, and it was founded in 1909. Did you hear me? After the death of Chairman Kiva Kaplan, a Boston Jew, the NAACP's highest honor, the Spingarn Medal, is named after one of its earlier Jewish leaders, Joel Spingarn. Jewish influence in African-American affairs climaxed in the civil rights era of the 1950s and 1960s, when, according to Jonathan Kaufman, the white Jew in Broken Alliance, 3/4 of the funding raised, how much? 3/4 of the funding raised by the three major civil rights organizations, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC, the Congress of Racial Equality, CORE, and Martin Luther King Jr.'s SCLC, Southern Christian Leadership Conference, came from Jewish sources.
Those people funded 3/4 of all of these movements. And not only did they fund 3/4, they gained more than that on the back end.
Jewish influence in the movement was personalized and personified by Stanley Levison, one of King's two closest advisors, the other being Andrew Young. Levison drafted King's speeches, handled his finances, and served as his chief strategist. This coalition of unequals came under stress, severe stress, after the mid-1960s when Black Power came to town, emphasizing self-reliance and African-American control over their organizations. Much of this comes to us from Black News, Blacks and Jews News, and Dr. Tony Martin has done much of this research for us. But we're drawing here from Mr. Jonathan Kaufman of Broken Alliance. Brothers and sisters, these African-American assertions of independence did not sit well with Jews who had grown accustomed to overlordship of the civil rights movement, not to mention great influence in the economic life of African-American communities. While pockets of Jewish liberalism remained, the dominant Jewish posture was now characterized by the demise of benevolent paternalism and its replacement by an aggressive hostility to continuing African-American progress. The new policy brought some impressive Jewish victories as Jews leveraged off of their great influence with the United States polity to thwart the rising ambitions of black folk. In 1968, Jews defeated the efforts of blacks in America in Brooklyn, New York, to control the education of their own children in the Ocean Hill-Brownsville affair. In 1977, the major Jewish organizations intruded themselves as quote-unquote friends of the court in the Baki case to defeat affirmative action programs for black people, Hispanics, Asian Americans, and Native Americans. When Mandela came the Jews jumped right on Mandela, and Mandela had to explain to the Jews, especially when old hook-nosed Ted Koppel had him on. Mandela had to explain, quote, your enemies, meaning Yasser Arafat and the Palestinian Liberation Organization, are not my enemies. They always tell us, we suffered like you. We, down south, one of us was killed right along with your civil rights workers down there. Please, give me a break with this. As it says here from Broken Alliance, from the Jewish writer himself, who talks with them, who eats bagels with them, lots with them, who goes to the synagogue with them, who plays golf with them, who sits with them out of and beyond our earshot, that they had a self-interest that they were doing these things to use us as cannon fodder to get these laws cleared from the books. And as soon as they were cleared, to whatever degree, then they started moving against us and attacking us and taking the opposite position every time an issue came up that was in our best interest. And they pulled their money, for the most part, out of the civil rights organizations when the civil rights organizations started standing up to them. This is the case, brothers and sisters. Who are the slumlords in the black community? The so-called Jews. Run down dilapidated buildings. Water not working properly. Toilets not working properly. The plumbing is terrible. The heating is terrible. Big rats and roaches playing hopscotch all in the hall. Mosquitoes carry ice picks. When I'm stinging you, you're in serious trouble. The white slumlords, the white so-called Jew slumlords and the other white slumlords. Who is it sucking our blood in the black community? A white imposter Arab and a white imposter Jew right in the black community sucking our blood on a daily and consistent basis. They sell us pork and they don't even eat it themselves. A meat case full of rotten pork meat. And the imposter Arab and the imposter white Jew, neither of them eat it themselves. A wall full of liquor, keeping our people drunk and out of their heads and filled with the swill of the swine, affecting their mind. They're the blood suckers of the black nation and the black community. Professor Grip was right when he spoke here. Then he spoke when he spoke in the general vicinity of Jersey and New York. And when he spoke at Columbia University over in New York City. He was right. The comments that Professor Grip made, and if you scared of Professor Grip, I'm Professor Grip's professor. You know you're in trouble. He was 100% right. Brother Steve Coakley, 100% right. Brothers and sisters, everyone that they've attacked. Dr. Jeffries. Yes, sir. I just mentioned Dr. Tony Martin. All of them have told us the truth. Dr. Yusuf bin Yaqin. Now they're attacking Dr. Molefi Asante. They're attacking Afrocentricity. They're saying that our position now, the research that we're doing, they just summarily dismissed it, but none of them want to debate. Bring me your best. I'm calling you out. Bring me your best white historians, your best Jewish scholars. Bring them. And I'm just a student of a student of a student of a student. So you know if I can throw down like this, you know the teacher must really be bad.
Not because for sake of time, we can't listen to it all, but I do have the link to the video pinned to the top of the chat. If any of you guys are interested, in this lecture, I highly recommend that you go and listen to this lecture from beginning to end. If you got 2 hours that you either driving or something where you could just listen and take it in, I highly recommend you go look at this lecture. But unfortunately, this is the lecture that will lead to Brother Khalid Muhammad not being able to remain a part of the nation. He got suspended and all of that stuff. But before we get to that, remember I showed you on this video, after all this happened, after all of that happened, the government got involved, called him anti-Semitic. Oh my God, he's horrible. Something needs to be done. Right after that, here comes your so-called Minister Louis Farrakhan. Let's get him on here. Now he's forced to make a statement saying that although he feel like it's true, he don't like how he said it, for lack of better terms, and that's why he's going to end up suspending him and not dealing with him. Check it out.
That I have guided you in ways that you may not understand the moves that I'm making. And you who love the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and study his word, you may think that the minister has gone off. No, it's true, it's true. But before you go off, you should ask questions. The problem book says, ask questions and learn all about yourself. Because everything that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad brought us was to teach us the knowledge of God, the knowledge of self. And sometimes when you raise your question, the teacher can see you better, see your need better. But if you start condemning and not ask questions, then you are like that parable in the 18th surah of the Quran, Moses in search of knowledge with the wise man. And he was always condemning the things that the wise man did. I was very sad this past 2 weeks to learn of the condition of my brother Khalid. It hurt me because my hope was that, like any illness, it would run its course. And my brother, like the prodigal son, would find his way back to his father, and we could reconcile our differences.
Cap.
Brother Khalid was a beautiful black stallion. I don't want you to applaud.
Cap.
But he was a stallion that did not want a bit in his mouth, nor a saddle on his back, or a bridle on him. You don't come to Islam to be your own man. You do that in the street. When you come to Islam, you come to submit to the will of God, that he may make you into a God, or make you yourself. I didn't know some of the things that Brother Khalid was saying about me. I instructed all the ministers, to leave Brother Khalid alone. I didn't want anybody from a speaker stand condemning him.
That is the exact same thing, word for word, bar for bar, Elijah Muhammad said about Malcolm. I'm just saying, word for word, bar for bar. That's the exact same thing Elijah Muhammad said about Malcolm.
I didn't want anybody bothering him. Leave him alone. And let him do what he thinks he has to do.
Okay.
You may not know this, but when he was trying to organize the youth, I sent him a letter to guide him so that he would be successful. Why? I'm trying to see what force is driving you, brother. What drummer is inside your head that you refuse to listen to the one that God has authorized? So, over a year and a half or so ago, I think it was January 1999, I was in New York, and they played a tape of Brother Khalid, and I listened to it. And he was condemning me. Must the student now teach the teacher? And while he was talking, I bore witness to the truth that he spoke. And then when he went in a certain direction, I said, oh, my poor brother.
He started exposing his teeth. The same way Malcolm did Elijah.
I really can see how the messenger was pained at Malcolm.
See?
When you have a student that you love and you hope the best for, there's none of you that are in the mosque that I am envious of.
Telling.
You can't do what I do. And maybe I can't do what you do.
Pause. Now this tells me everything that I need to know. If or when somebody or Khalid Muhammad said, you jealous of me, you don't want, you feel like I'm outshining you, that must have hit hard. Because why is you going to, oh, I'm not jealous of anybody in the mosque because you can't do what I do and I can't do what you do. It's given, that really hit hard. That hit you hard.
Each of us has our place.
To say to you, and I say to my spiritual father, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, oh, my dear father, there is no repentance for America. There is no atonement for America. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, it is too late. It is too late. He said, it is too late that America cannot be forgiven for her crimes and her sins against the chosen people of God. We have been burned at the stake. We have been burned alive. We have been dragged in the lakes, the rivers, and drowned in the lakes, the rivers, the brooks, and the streams. He has robbed us of our names, our language, our religion, our culture, our folkways, our God, our mores, robbed us of the very power of our own being. And so, in the spirit of divine personal responsibility, holla if you hear me, in the spirit of divine personal responsibility, the karma that is on America and the white man cannot be lifted from her. And so
I want to show y'all, because this is once it got heated, but let me show y'all what he was saying once he got suspended. He really was apologetic and wanting to be back under his so-called teacher and spiritual father.
For if you be patient, you'll get the why. Buckle your seatbelt. It has been now 1 year since my suspension from national spokesman. Minister Malcolm was the first great national spokesman of the Nation of Islam. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was the second and chose me to be the third in that line. It has been a year since my suspension from national assistant, spokesman, or representative, and from the ministry. And during that year, now over a year, which has become an indefinite suspension, I have made attempts to reach my spiritual father, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and I have not really been able to set up a meeting successfully with him.
What he's saying is, originally, they heard the speech, suspended him for a year. It's been over a year. He's been trying to reach out to the Minister Farrakhan, and he has been unsuccessful. He hadn't been able to get in touch with him, and he can't get no doggone no meeting with him. Mind you, Farrakhan was around here saying, "Oh, my dear brother, when he wanted to do the youth program, I reached out to him to give him guidance." Somebody lying, and I don't think it's this brother here. Because why would he lie? Remember, only one of them is trying to save face. The other one is unapologetically me. They would not allow him contact with the minister.
Certainly there. Why don't you be quiet for a minute? Let me answer the questions. As difficult as it was, and I didn't mean any disrespect, but I was answering your disrespect. As difficult as it is to even stand up here, don't prompt me. Don't push me. You push me to say something that maybe I shouldn't say or wouldn't have said, as Malcolm was probably prompted and pushed too much 30 years ago. This has happened almost 30 years to the day in many ways. I didn't set it that way, and I didn't plan it that way.
Well, my numerology people, 30 years to the day, same stuff, different toilet. They're going through the same shit. He going through the exact same thing, word for word, bar for bar. Malcolm did 30 years to the day. My numerology people, even if you're on replay game, you gonna know that that's significant right there.
Started in November 30 years ago. Started again in November 30 years later at Keene College. Many other parallels that are not necessary to go into now, but one in particular. Malcolm, it is true, made attempts to reach the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Mm-hmm. We don't know if his calls were being intercepted.
He said so.
We don't know if his mail was being intercepted.
He said
we don't know what government operatives worked between Malcolm and his spiritual father.
He said it.
I have, for the most part, not spoken on this subject because I am still waiting for my meeting with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And until I have that meeting with him, there are things that I would like to hear from him. And there are things, as a son would say, that I would like to say to him. And I don't think I should say them to you before I say them to him. And some of you might not agree with that. I believe I understand Brother Malcolm more today than I have ever understood him before. I was not in the Nation of Islam 30 years ago. I was in my mid-teens at that time, down in Houston, Texas, and had not yet moved on to the university where I would meet the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan as a young student leader there in New Orleans. So there are many things on my heart, but I think if you will permit me to be just a little wise today, it would be better, and I'm sure if you will weigh it, you would agree with me.
So basically what he's saying is, listen, I haven't spoke to him. I'm still trying to get in touch with him. But at the end of the day, that is my spiritual father. It's certain situations and certain conversations that have to happen when I speak to him before I can even come and talk to y'all and address y'all about anything. But at the moment, it's been over a year. I'm supposed to be off suspension, but I cannot get in touch with my spiritual father. And then the spiritual father on the flip side saying, oh, that's my, I love my brother and I helped him when he was trying to do the youth program. Bullshit. Listen, the same thing Elijah Muhammad did with Malcolm X. They say one thing on the mic and on the stage, and they do a whole nother thing behind their back. Everybody separated from this brother when Louis Farrakhan cut him off. One of those people were Professor Griff. Y'all know Professor Griff. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, he was heavy in the nation. Whatever. I don't even know if I could charge it to his heart. I don't know what it is. I'm going to let y'all decide. This Professor Griff talking about how he had to leave Khalid Muhammad alone after the things that he was saying, which were the truth, allegedly, about the Minister Louis Farrakhan.
As well as Steve Coakley, one of those individuals I kind of ran with. Listen to my early lecture. You see the Steve Coakley research, and you hear Khalid. You understand what I'm saying? I grew up without a dad, so when you talk about a strong individual to model yourself after, definitely Khalid was one of those individuals that played that kind of role. And my Khalid was fearless, man. Just one of those kind of individuals. When I say fearless, I don't want people to think just physical, because he had a presence. Shiny, bald head, black man who, you understand what I'm saying? But when he spoke, did you see him on the Donahue show? Sitting down calm, but fearless. You understand what I'm saying? Broke down complex things in simple terms. That I had to say to myself, okay, is this the fork in the road to your life? Khalid was a master at that. But there was aspects of Khalid that I saw that I had to say to myself, okay, is this the fork in the road? In my home, I may disagree with my wife. That's not going past our bedroom. You understand what I'm saying? And I felt at that particular time, that should be the same principle that all of us should have to put in place in order to maintain relationships.
What he's saying is, it's not that Khalid was wrong. He was actually right. I just didn't like that he put it out in the forefront in front of everybody. That's what I'm getting. So you cut him off, not because what he was saying was wrong, just because the way he did it. Got it. Okay.
Friends with Misan more than 10 or some odd years already. We disagreed on a lot of things. It would never hit social media. I will never air that out. Do you understand what I'm saying? Through Facebook, around through somebody's IG, then ending up on YouTube, then making its way back around to me, ultimately having to have a conversation with the brother. That will never happen. And I think we need to kind of grow up in that kind of way. And that was one of the lessons that tore me apart running with Khalid, the Farrakhan factor, they called it then. And I couldn't run with you anymore, Khalid. When you started that airing out some things about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, because if it wasn't for Farrakhan's voice, most of us that are probably hearing this will still be in the mud, will still be in the grave, whether we want to admit it or not. I've met pastors and preachers. I've met pimps who study Minister Farrakhan's work quietly and use that energy and the way he presented things and that mindset to go do what they do. You understand what I'm saying? Which I think is wrong. You understand? We need to give credit where credit is due. But I'm saying, when it came to that fork in the road, no. But I will forever revere the man. And I will ever stand on the principles that the man taught. And the same principles that Khalid taught were the same principles that I got from the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. You got to understand something, sister. When the word finds you, all of us have our own individual story, our own individual reference point.
You know what's ironic to this? The same thing he did to Khalid Muhammad, he felt the way when the group did to him. He spoke out about the orange juice people and their position in the music industry, and the group Public Enemy abandoned him. And he felt like, damn, how could y'all abandon me? Y'all know what I'm saying is the truth. We talk about this stuff behind the scenes all the time. So how could y'all sit up here and kick me out the group and abandon me when I'm not lying? That's the exact same thing he did to Brother Khalid Muhammad, because I'm pretty positive their messages were very identical. I'm pretty positive what he knew that what Brother Khalid was saying was not wrong, but that wasn't what it's about. Just like your group members, Professor Griff, they felt like you was making it hot. You was making the block hot, so they had to get you up out of there. Yeah, So you can't be, he couldn't have been mad with Public Enemy when he did the same thing with Khalid Muhammad. Religion is very dangerous. Again, these people be saying they following the Most High, Allah, God, and Jehovah. They be following them people. You got to know that. Now I want to go here. We've been on 2 hours. Hold on. Now let's get into this documentary. I love this documentary. I probably watched this documentary like 12 times, exposing the real history of the Nation of Islam. Listen, if you get a chance, go watch this documentary. I'll post a link in the chat. Go and watch this documentary. It is amazing from rooter to tutor on the Nation of Islam. Okay, please, I'm about to post a link in there. Y'all get this link to the King College thing right now. Get it, because I'm about to replace it with this link. Okay. This is an amazing documentary, and this is a portion where they're talking about Brother Khalid Muhammad. But it covers from Farad, Master Farad, from the beginning, from it. No, let me back up. It covers the Freemasons all the way. This is an amazing documentary. They even talk to Malcolm. Well, I know Muhammad Ali's ex-wife, and talks about how she spoke to or seen Farad Muhammad and all that stuff. I implore everybody to watch it. Get the link to the King College one right now. Copy it right now, because I'm about to repost this one, or I'm about to post this one in its place, so y'all can have these links to go look at all of this stuff on your spare time, okay? Because I want y'all to have this information. This is very imperative, okay? Get the likes up on the video if you haven't already.
And from another part, from dust. And he ordered the angels to bow down to Adam. All of this is subject to interpretation. And it is interpretation that gives Muslims these points that create division. And I think now that we in the Nation of Islam have accepted Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and we recognize when we were taught to pray, every morning our prayer was, surely I have turned myself to thee, O Allah, to him who originated the heavens and the earth. And I am not of the polytheists. That was our prayer.
Yes, our prayer.
At some point, we would come into a greater understanding of that. And I would say that we are like children who don't really know God, but know him through a mom and a dad. But as we mature, we see our mother and our father in perspective. And as we mature, we see Master Farad Muhammad and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Prophet Muhammad and all the prophets in perspective.
About Colin Ferguson, the man who shot a Jamaican a black male who shot 6 people on the Long Island train. Mr. Muhammad speaks.
Where they set black inmates up in these jails and penitentiaries, and in particular there in Nassau County, and pulled all the black officers out and the black inmates so they could jump on Brother Colin Ferguson, because they were mad with him for catching the Long Island train and killing all them white folks. I love Colin Ferguson.
Full-page ad in the New York Times and other newspapers. What the ADL did essentially was publish in the New York Times some of the things that you said.
So the ADL not only published this in the New York Times, the ADL did a whole, they had a whole congressional meeting. This has to, y'all got to do something. It was a big old, it was huge. This was huge. It was more than just what they published in the New York Times. Way more than that. Like, I pulled the transcripts and it's pages upon pages upon. They picked apart the speech from the beginning to the end. That's a 2.5 hour speech. It's crazy.
Here's a part, this is an audio tape of part of your speech to Kane College last November that created such furor. Khalid Muhammad speaking.
The hook-nosed, bagel-eating, lox-eating, imposter perpetrating a fraud, Johnny-come-lately, just crawled out of the caves and hills of Europe, wanna be you.
Don't you let no hook-nosed, bagel-eating, lox-eating, perpetrating a fraud.
It is remarks like this one that have earned Mohammed his reputation as someone who despises Jews. Everywhere he goes, the former spokesman for the Nation of Islam stirs angry emotions. Mohammed blames Jews for hindering the progress of African Americans. He has been denounced by President Clinton, other black leaders, and even Louis Farrakhan himself.
Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam claim they are moving toward moderation and increased tolerance. Minister Farrakhan spoke in Washington this afternoon.
Recent events surrounding the remarks by one of my ministers is causing intense concern among many people. Brother Khalid Abdul Muhammad spoke at Keene College. During the speech, Brother Khalid made remarks that were not consistent with the proper representation of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, his teachings and guidance, myself, and the Nation of Islam. I found the speech, after listening to it in context, vile in manner, repugnant, malicious, mean-spirited, and spoken in mockery of individuals and people, which is against the spirit of Islam. While I stand by the truths that he spoke, I must condemn in the strongest terms the manner in which those truths were represented.
He has been denounced by President Clinton, other black leaders, and even Louis Farrakhan himself.
I therefore have dismissed Brother Khalid from his post as minister, representative, and national assistant until he demonstrates that he is willing to conform to the manner of representing Allah, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, his truth, his guidance, aim, and his purpose for us in America in a manner that would be pleasing to Allah, his messenger, myself, and the nation.
I believe.
Now, listen, them people made him do that. They definitely told him, get your ass out there, condemn this, dismiss him, because if you want to be a part of it, you could go down too. Allegedly.
With all of my heart that the white man is the devil, and I must teach that he is the devil. I cannot back down from that. I must teach that he is the devil. Whether you like me or not, whether you accept me or not, whether you condemn me or not, whether you suspend me or not, the goddamn white man is the devil, and I will teach it from the cradle to the grave. Always teach it.
I have an internal and secret document put out by the Civil Rights Division of the Anti-Defamation League this January. This document reveals their strategy for dealing with Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam.
I see a lot of y'all saying Louis Farrakhan said the same thing. Yes, he did, under the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, because Elijah Muhammad said the same things. That was what the whole nation was founded off of. But once Elijah Muhammad died and Louis Farrakhan swindled it away from his son, he went more into a cohesive thing. He wasn't talking, kind of was, he double talks all the time. But he wasn't talking like that as much as he was before. Remember, he was competing with Malcolm, who called him a blind-haired, blue-eyed devil at every chance he got. But once he took over, the message kind of like did this. So like I said at the beginning of the live, why is it a problem when Dr. Khalid Muhammad say it, when that's the whole premise of the whole damn religion? Make it make sense. I know, because this new leader ain't going the way that the rest of the religion was. He was doing like this. That's why right now clear people can join the nation. You get it?
The ADL raises the question, does Farrakhan's acceptance by the mainstream Black community represent a newfound tolerance for anti-Semitism, which the ADL must fight with every weapon at our disposal? What do these weapons include?
Black people who pretended to be close to me started running from me. These Negroes who play hard. But when the cracker comes on the scene, they punk out. Scared of what the white folks gonna say, what the Jews gonna say.
In 1989, over a decade after the demise of Huey Newton's Black Panther Party, the new Black Panther Party was started in Dallas, Texas. A local radio talk show producer resurrected the name and gathered a group of blacks who took up shotguns and marched against a school board official who used a racial slur against black students.
The new Black Panther Party was started when there was no Black Panther Party. It was started by Brother David Foreman and Brother Aaron Michaels in the late 1980s because they believed in the Panther. They believed that the struggle that Huey Newton and Bobby Seale, who founded the Black Panther Party in the 1960s, should be continued, and that the spirit of liberation, the spirit of revolution, and the program of self-defense and community development should live on.
The new Panthers used the militant rhetoric and confrontational style of the original Panthers, but abandoned their core principle of all power to all the people.
And Black Power.
Instead, the new Black Panther Party kept the Panther name, but added a fiery brand of black separatism, black nationalism, and anti-Semitism.
You already know what you want to know.
Their hatred of the Jews stems from a belief that blacks are the true descendants of the Hebrews of the Bible. They also believe that while blacks and Jews have both struggled for equality in America, the Jews have risen and abandoned the blacks. The new party and their militant tactics attracted a small nationwide following during the next several years.
In the beginning, New Black Panther Party held a youth rally, and they invited Tom Metzger, who's the head of the White Aryan Resistance, and they both agreed, the white supremacists and the black supremacists agreed that they should be separate and live their own lives.
Militant and at times hate-filled language has been a core component of the new Black Panther Party since its beginnings. But the rhetoric intensified under Dr. Khalid Muhammad, who became the group's de facto leader in 1998.
And Black Power.
When the new Black Panther Party teamed up with Khalid Abdul Muhammad, who was a former NOI spokesperson, the hardcore anti-Semitism and racism really became part of what was attractive to a lot of people about the new Black Panther Party.
Khalid was the national spokesman for the nation's leader, Minister Louis Farrakhan. His outspoken rhetoric made him a hero to some young members of the NOI.
Khalid Muhammad was a firebrand. He was charismatic. He was powerful. He resonated with young black people. He resonated with the hip-hop generation. He was a force to be reckoned with in many ways outside of the Nation of Islam.
I say to the Jewish people.
The Nation of Islam, a religious organization, was founded in 1930 and claims to promote Islamic beliefs and black pride. But in 1993, Khalid brought pressure on the organization when he gave a speech at New Jersey's Keene College and referred to Jewish people as bloodsuckers and the Pope as a cracker.
Perpetrating a fraud just crawled out of the caves and hills of Europe, so-called Jew, make you believe that you are not the chosen people of
His
God.
remarks were so strident that Khalid was censured by the U.S. Congress. In response to the public outcry, Minister Louis Farrakhan suspended Khalid from the leadership of the Nation of Islam.
I found the speech vile in manner.
The Nation of Islam wanted him to tone down his rhetoric. And Khalid Muhammad found a space where he could say what he wanted to say without someone telling him that he needs to tone down his rhetoric. And that organization was the New Black Panther Party.
Wake up, lean up, and stand up.
In 1998, Khalid became the de facto leader of the New Black Panther Party for self-defense.
Quran says, "Oh, you who believe, do not take the Jews and the Christians for friends. They are friends of each other, and whoever amongst you takes them for a friend, then surely he is one of them. Surely Allah does not guide him." You can clearly see. Look at goddamn Farrakhan sitting there with that lowly ass Jew. Now look over.
Hey, this is the exposing that Farrakhan got on here with the smile saying, you know, when my good brother veered off and said some disparaging things about me, this is what he's talking about. Hell, at least Elijah Muhammad was just friends with him behind the scenes. Let's clock it. Farrakhan was over there friends in front of the scenes. And that's why he got him up out of there, because he can't mess that relationship up, allegedly.
Well, here, this one is very important. Y'all know who he is? That's Flegger. Flegger, Jesuit order of the church. He's a Jesuit priest. Check it out. Let's connect these niggas. Check them out. There you go again, Farrakhan and Flegger. Now let me go a little further. Look at Farrakhan at the United Nations, right? You know what United Nations stand for. These damn devils he up here begging. Look at this man over here. Chavez, right? So we can clearly see, why would he be sitting up at the UN? Is he in there talking about Darfur? Is he in there talking about some damn white Arabs over there enslaving Africans? Hell no. He in there begging them. Okay, that's Darfur. He not in there talking about Darfur. Let's go on. Right here. Never again. A new pledge for the Jewish community. The Quran clearly says, whoever takes the Christians and Jews for a friend is an abomination. The Quran says, look at Farrakhan sitting there, goddamn puppet to these damn Jews. Look at him. There you go again with these goddamn Jews. Take a look. I'm not making this shit up. He's in bed with the Jews.
In the supreme wisdom lessons of the lost found nation of Islam, we are told that you cannot reform the devil. The question is asked, and can you reform devil? And the answer said that all of the emphatically no. What did it say? No.
Minister Farrakhan, yes. Dr. King dreamed of the day that children will be recognized by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. Do you see a day when whites will be allowed to join the black Muslims?
Yes. Yes. There, you know, I must say this.
Did you catch that? Watch what the clear man asked him. I don't want that to go over your head. Look.
Minister Farrakhan, yes. Dr. King dreamed of the day that children will be recognized by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. Do you see a day when whites will be allowed to join the black Muslims?
Yes. Yes.
How, Sway? How? The man just asked, do you see a day where whites will be able to join the Nation of Islam? Yes. Yes.
There, you know, I must say this. Some of my own brothers may be shocked at this, but you asked me a question, and I have to answer you truthfully. If you look at the message of Jesus, it started first very narrowly among the lost sheep. And Jesus was told, go ye not in the way of the Samaritans or in the way of the Gentiles, but to the lost sheep. And then at a certain point, he said, go ye into all the world, to every nation, kindred, and tongue. If you will look at the message of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, it first was directed to black people because we were in the worst condition. But not only are we lost, the whole human family is lost, and therefore, therefore the message has to evolve, and we have to evolve. And I'll close that point by saying, in Christ, there is no Greek, no Jew, no bond, no free, no male, no female. This means that we all are going to have to grow out of rabid nationalism, sexism, racism, materialism in order to claim Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior.
My dear father, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, when I was blind, deaf, and dumb, you came after me and lifted me up from the graveyard of the white man's ignorance. And as it appears that you have deviated from the path of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, it is my divine duty to come after you with the truth of Elijah Muhammad. As you
What Khalid is saying is, you completely going off of what our so-called honorable father Elijah Muhammad said. He ain't said nothing like that. I don't know where you coming from, talking about the message has to evolve. He's saying when that man went on to glory, he ain't never saying nothing about no plans with us mixing, especially religiously in the black Muslim nation, with the clears. So why is you on here telling these folks, oh, yeah, we need to all just, the messages evolve so we can all coexist because we all one human race. Khalid was calling him on it.
Came after me. You're not going to save this beast. In the supreme wisdom lessons of the lost found nation of Islam, we are told that you cannot reform the devil. The question is asked, and can you reform devil?
Yes.
And the answer said that all of the emphatically no. What did it say? No. It says emphatically no.
There are some white people who want to escape that history and try to be better than their fathers. I don't fault them for that.
Oh, dear Father, have you forgotten the lesson? The lessons say emphatically no. Says all of the prophets have tried and none of them were successful.
We all are going to have to grow out of rabid nationalism, sexism, racism, materialism in order to claim Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior. Not only are we lost, the whole...
That was another thing. Him going toward the whole Jesus Christ thing was odd for me because the Muslims really did Allah and all that stuff. So that was odd.
Whole human family is lost, and therefore the message has to evolve, and we have to evolve.
And there are some white people who want to escape that history and try to be better than their fathers. I don't fault them for that.
I think the weirdest part is not him saying it. It's the mass of people in the crowd amening. Like, you right. Yep, you right. Yep, yep. That's the scariest part of all of this.
You think you are that God has come to destroy this goddamn bastard and you will get in the way to try to save this bastard?
Yes.
Hell no. Hell no. You get in the way of God's wrath.
Why wouldn't Jesus and Muhammad be honored with this multiracial presentation?
Hell no. Hell no.
If you notice, Phil, Muhammad started among Arabs. And then the message spread into Africa, and then into Europe, and then into Asia. So if you look at the world of Islam, it is not a world that is just black. It is black, brown, red, yellow, white, the whole human family.
But your world isn't.
My world starts with the black man. But it doesn't end there.
Hell no. Hell no.
And I would say that every day there are more and more Hispanics, Native Americans, Arab Americans, Asian Americans, and white Americans who are attracted to the message of Islam. They couldn't be attracted to a black message. But there had to be a black message to give us love of ourselves again, root in ourselves, but that was a medicine. But after you've accomplished the results, you don't keep taking the medicine.
Critics are saying, oh, Farrakhan talking all this black talk and went over to this white man, L. Ron Hubbard. You know, all the prophets taught us to seek truth. From the cradle to the grave. I said, wherever knowledge is, you should seek to be a possessor of it. You know, some of you went to school. You went to college, didn't you? Some of you, were all your teachers black? You didn't go there to join their race or their ethnic group or to condemn them for being white or Asian or Hispanic or black.
Therefore, the message has to evolve, and we have to evolve.
Islam is magnificent. It's beautiful. We search the scriptures, as you will see and hear today, and we come up with wonderful teachings from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and God himself has guided us. But I found something. But I found something. But I found something. In the teaching of Dianetics of Mr. L. Ron Hubbard.
Scientology.
The characteristics of the white man is evil. He was made like that through nature, now we say. Naturally, he was made like that.
And I thank God.
So they just showed you the clip of Elijah Muhammad telling you how he felt. Okay.
For Mr. L. Ron Hubbard.
L. Ron Hubbard,
and I
dude.
thank God.
L. Ron Hubbard is the Scientology dude. Love this brother down to the ground. But he's another one. Rizza Islam. All them niggas up and up with that Scientology stuff. All of them.
For his research and teaching. He's gone on now. So if he was a racist, that went in the ground.
Oh.
If he was a hater, that went in the ground.
Okay.
If he wanted nothing to do with black people, well, maybe that's in the ground, but his word was that this teaching that he had would find prominence once it was exposed to black people and black people laid hold to it. I am not in a disagreement with that.
You see how quickly it went back into the clear man's hand, even though it started by them anyway, but do you see how quickly the clear man got a hold of it and now he's in charge? Like, you literally can't make this up. I want to fast forward to Khalid really quickly because they're going to cover his death.
His words. His words were spoken out of pain and suffering for an oppressed people. They're two different standards.
Black power! Black power! Black power! Black power!
Minister Khalid Abdul Muhammad made his transition to the ancestors.
Black power!
Black power!
Khalid died in 2001 of a brain aneurysm, but his teachings and beliefs still guide the new Black Panther Party.
And he'll be the devil tomorrow. Black power!
Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad will always remain our mentor and always remain our ideological standard bearer. He is the master teacher of Black nationalism and Pan-Africanism and revolution in our midst, even though he's not here. It is our duty to carry his word and legacy on. He not only talked about it and talked the talk, he walked the walk. And he organized and stood up Black men and Black women, and he never cowed down in the face of opposition.
On February 17, 2001, Khalid Abdul Muhammad died.
The cause of death was said to be a brain aneurysm. A close friend of Khalid named Steve Coakley, who was an American political researcher, has lectured on Khalid Muhammad's sudden death and concluded that foul play was involved. Could Steve Coakley prove it?
It's not what you know, it's what you can prove.
Word on the street is that Steve Coakley could indeed prove his claims about Khalid Muhammad's demise, but Steve Coakley's life was threatened if he continued to lecture on Khalid Muhammad's death that Coakley said was murder.
It's not what you know, it's what you can prove.
I, Omar Shabazz, went to Khalid Muhammad's wake at the Unity Funeral Home in Harlem, New York. And when I walked up to Khalid Muhammad's open casket, I didn't want to believe my eyes. What I saw sent chills down my spine. It was apparent that the undertaker of the funeral home could do nothing on earth to get off the fixed, sardonic grimace of horror and pain that was locked on Khalid Muhammad's face. As I stared down at his face, the first thought that entered my mind was, oh no, somebody did something to him. The look of horror that was etched on Khalid Muhammad's face was grim and mocking. It was as if someone wanted to send a message to say, look what happened to him. It looked to be intentional. I will never forget the scornful look that was locked onto Khalid Muhammad's face. When I left the funeral home, I asked others if they agreed on what I saw, and they all agreed. A week later, when I returned to Harlem, I spotted on the street Queen Mother Dr. Dolores Blakely, who I saw seated inside the funeral home, seated close to Dr. Khalid's coffin, the day I attended the wake. She too agreed on what I mentioned to her about Khalid's bizarre appearance. Does anyone out there in YouTube land have a photo of Khalid Muhammad lying in state? A photograph of Khalid as he looked at his wake inside the Harlem funeral home will speak volumes. It's said that a picture can speak 1,000 words. We need to see a picture of Khalid Muhammad.
It's not what you know, it's what you can prove.
Let me tell y'all something. If I got this link to this is pinned to the very top of the chat. If you get a chance, go and watch this documentary. This is a crazy documentary. It's amazing. It's very informative. It'll teach you rooter to tutor this whole thing about these folks. Okay. But I want to say this. We all know they're going to say, oh, it was drugs. Oh, it was a brain aneurysm. Oh, it was this. Oh, it was that. But we all know once you get too loud, once you start doing too much, people start coming up missing. Like on the Super Bowl, when what's his name said, oh, you trying to use the Negro cheat code, deduct one life? You trying to use the Negro cheat code, deduct one life? That's what they talking about. That's exactly what they talking about. Samuel L. Jackson, thank you, Proudly Peculiar. That's exactly what they talking about. How dare you speak the truth to power and believe it, and then not only that, organize and get other people to understand that what you're saying is true too. How dare you? You got to go. Steve Coakley, another brother, he didn't fall to a waiver from what I understand on Khalid Muhammad, but they got him up out of there too at a young age. I think he was in his 50s too. Pay attention. Pay attention. Rest in peace to the great brother, the great brother, Dr. Khalid Muhammad. Too young to go. I appreciate all his works. They say you never appreciate our greatest until they gone, and that's unfortunate. But it is what it is. I remember seeing him as a little girl on Donahue, and I just thought he was just one of the black people who's just a proud black person. I didn't even know, to what extent he was until I became grown. Not even in college, within the last 5 years. is when I learned of Khalid Muhammad and Steve Coakley. I'm just learning of these people. Didi, thank you for the super chat. Thank you so much for the super chat. Okay, girl. Making it rain, making it rain, making it rain. Shout out to everybody in the building. Y'all get the lights up. Thank you so much, Didi, for the super chat. Let me play the music. I make it rain. I make it rain. I make it rain on them hoes. I make it rain. I make it rain on them hoes. Thank you so much. I was over here dancing. Thank you so much. She says, hey, Dr. Vu, love you down to the ground. Keep doing what you do. Educational Fridays. Hope you can start back to your deep dives. I will be going back to the deep dives. Promise you, at the latest by June, when I'm able to do this full time. It's just that I be having to get up for work early, and them deep dives used to have me up late. Now, before I used to be able to go to work late, so I could do it. But then they started cracking down. But I will be back to the deep dives. Trust and believe. Thank you so much again, Didi. Thank you so much, William, for the super chat. And I'm so glad y'all, because this is not going to get monetized at all. Like, YouTube not going to even tell me, don't even play with me, asking me about no monetization. None of this getting monetized. But yeah, if God forbid, but if it happens to go down, please go to my Rumble. That's where it'll be. I don't know how YouTube play. We'll see how it goes. Thank you, William, for the super sticker. Thank you, my love. Deserving one. Thank you for the super sticker. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Tiffany Willis, thank you for being a member for 2 months. She says, Boo, you don't know how much I appreciate you and all that you've taught me. I've been rocking with you for 8 months between both channels, and I thank you. Thank you so much, Tiff. I really appreciate you and everybody else too. Thank y'all. Like, I'm so grateful for y'all. Thank y'all so much. For real, for real. Trey, thank you for the super channel. Farrakhan talking about Khalid reminds me of Uncle Sam during the Super Bowl. We just said the same thing. Yes, it does remind us of the same thing. Deduct one life. There you go. And also, Miss Parker, thank you for becoming a new member. Now, that was the video, you guys, on Dr. Khalid Muhammad. Both of those links were pinned in the chat, at least the last one for this documentary. Please, if you got 2 hours to spare, I don't care if you're cooking and cleaning, just put an earbud in or put the TV on and watch this documentary. Also, Dr. Khalid Muhammad at King College, that whole lecture, I pinned it to the chat earlier. You may have to scroll back, but that is also pinned to the top of the chat too. If you got another 2 hours somewhere, you're driving, you're chilling, whatever, I implore you guys to please go look at that lecture. With that being said, y'all, I'm going to end Educational Friday. I appreciate each and every one of y'all so much for being here. If you're new to the channel, go ahead on and subscribe. Which link do you need me to send? Hold on. I'm going to send the one that's up at the top. Hold on. The one that's pinned is the one that we just talked about, the real Nation of Islam. That's covering the Nation of Islam. I'm going to repost the King College lecture link. And you guys make sure y'all go check that out in case you haven't gotten it. This is the one for King College lecture. And with that being said, y'all, I love each and every one of y'all. I love Educational Fridays more than anything. Thank y'all so much for being here. I'm about to just jolt y'all up out of here, okay? Love y'all down to the ground, and I'll see y'all on the next one. I'm going live tomorrow, and I got a video coming out on the Dollhouse, okay? Bye, y'all. Peace. Where's my damn thing? Okay, bye, y'all.
Mic check, 1 2 1 2. We live, baby. Come on. That's right. Okay. Can you hear me now? Oh, let's go. It's your boy Big Chew, the voice of the beat. You know what I want? Blaze up. Come on, Blaze up.
It's the beat for me.
Wah 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 wah. For your guy, for your B-O-Y. Drop it for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Do it for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Come on, baby, we are. For your boy. For your boy. Also for your boy. Fix it for your boy. Drop it for your lift it up. Then it bust it open, lift it up. Yeah, come on, lift it up. Then it bust it open for your B-O-Y. Then it for your rockin' for your lift it up, baby. Mix it with your bustin' up. Come on, Blaze, you know. Drop me a nasty beat.
Carol, how you give the voodoo doll time to talk? I don't get no fucking time to talk.
Who the voodoo doll is?
The nigga you just had up here.